Guys, I knew as soon as Diddy got arrested that other people, other gigantic billionaire type of people, were going to start being named. And Jay-Z's name comes up here. Keep this in mind here. We've heard the whispers, let's say, a couple of unfollows on social media, etc., etc. Right? But let's go ahead and see what this takes us, guys. The name of the video is I'm not reading that. Rapper Jay-Z accused of doing terrible things with a young one. Let's go ahead and say that. But all right, let's get it. Let's check it out. Let's see what this takes us.
Thank you for staying up late.
This is a suggestion via Discord, guys.
For the Factor Uncensored, and we want to welcome you for joining us tonight. We start off with news that has social media, politicians, and fans in an uproar. Billionaire rapper Jay-Z is accused of a 13-year-old girl accused, along with Sean P. Diddy Combs. A Jane Doe in a lawsuit says the assault happened at an after party that was following the MTV Video Music Awards in New York City back in 2000. Jay-Z responded with a statement on X calling the allegations idiotic and an attempt at blackmail by a prominent Houston attorney that we all know, Tony Busby, who represents that Jane Doe in the lawsuit. Today, he filed a motion, that being Jay-Z, to dismiss the lawsuit. Busby also released a statement last night saying he sent a demand letter in an attempt to settle this case, and his client in the so-called blackmail attempt didn't talk about money in that demand letter. He also requested that the accuser identify herself publicly, that being from Jay-Z. Joining us to talk about it here on The Factor.
Here's the thing. That should absolutely be something that is important. Identification. You recognize who this person is. You see if there's any validity in this actual statement itself, but also at the same time, identifying yourself in a situation where you're legitimately going against a billionaire. I think in this case here, nah, bro. I don't think so. I don't think this person should definitely do this here. I'm gonna be honest here, just for the safety of that individual. No, but keep this in mind. It better be true. It better not be like a cash grab or anything like that. I don't trust people at all, but just be fully aware here. It better be true.
Uncensored, our attorneys,
because you're about to run him through the mud.
Kingbala and the Factor's digital producer, Ajibola Buduran. Glad to have you all on the Factor Uncensored. First of all, your thoughts about this? It's getting ugly. And a major celebrity.
It's a major celebrity, and look, I'm not going to get into my personal beliefs. I know that Tony Busby, he's a world-known attorney, right? I want to know what made him feel compelled to go ahead and file this lawsuit and go about the way that he did it. I know that he wouldn't go about something that just be frivolous, so there must be something more to it. But I still am a little bit reserved as to this is supposedly happened 24 years ago, and it's just now coming out. It's only happening once the federal charges happen against.
Is it possible these could be powerful individuals we're talking about? Jay-Z, and only allegations, Jay-Z and P. Diddy, and that person, the so-called Jane Doe, didn't have the bravery to come forward and say this.
Well, I believe
that's valid.
13-year-old,
very valid.
Being in those type of situations wouldn't have bravery.
Right, they wouldn't have said nothing.
Grown men that did that to him. So, I don't believe that that's going to be a determinant factor based off of the age. It's going to become, are they going to be able to prove how she got there and then that she was in fact there and that happened? And I think that's going to be a very steep hill to climb. It does come across a little bit, at an inconvenient time of filing this lawsuit. Why did this happen? Why wasn't the lawsuit filed 4 years ago?
And all of these statements that he's making right here are absolutely accurate. We can already hear the naysayers, okay? In fact, but again, my only thing here is this all better be true. It better be true, and not just Diddy's doing it. He's all over the news, right? So let me go ahead and bring this person into the situation. It better not be that, but if it is true, then obviously, sir, it's time to pack your bags, bro.
All the Bill Cosby things and things like that, where it has become more socially acceptable based off of the Me Too movement. So you know, again, a 13-year-old is not going to have the bravery to come forward at that time. So nobody should, you know, shame a 13-year-old girl for going through something traumatic.
We
But
just want to know if it's true. And
if it's true or not, and then how can you prove it?
Okay, so a fact-finding mission.
Task.
Yogi, your thoughts on this?
But the thing about it is, I'm not even sure he'd actually see any time, bro. Because the only place that, if I recall, said something about the statute of limitation regarding this instance was the state of New York. And this sounds like this is happening in Texas. And 24 years is a very long time. So if it is some type of fact-finding mission, then he'll be basically crucified, let's say, on the world stage, in fact.
I think one thing that Mr. Busby has in his favor is the standard by which the civil courts are going to have to weigh this. It's not a criminal case. They don't have to prove this beyond a reasonable doubt. They have to prove it by the preponderance of the evidence. And this means...
And yeah, for the average viewer who doesn't know what that means, what does that mean?
It just means that you have to prove more likely than not that it happened. Tipping the scale to, let's say, 51% in your favor with respect to the evidentiary standard. Now, Mr. Busby had a press conference a few months back, and during that press conference, he stated that the civil lawsuits that he was moving forward with were ones that were vetted by his office. He stated that he hired an investigator. That investigator gathered further corroborating evidence. And so I'm very curious to see what corroborating evidence he has that he thinks can meet that low burden of proof.
And Oliver, do you think, do you believe in these cases? Do you feel like Tony Busby wouldn't go to the courts or file a lawsuit without being properly vetted and seeing the evidence, some evidence that we're not privy to at this point?
Let's be very clear. Tony Busby already has a lot of money. He doesn't need... If he wanted to retire today and not take any more cases, he would be set for the rest of his life, and his children would too. So for him to take it on, I believe that he has to believe that there has to be some shred of credibility. I don't think that he's going to blow his credibility. He just defended the Texas Attorney General, so he has high credibility.
Former Governor Rick Perry.
Former Governor Rick Perry.
Okay.
And civil lawsuit against our former quarterback in Texas.
So he has a history of taking on some big cases. I don't think that he would try to destroy his credibility just for, you know, a couple extra coins in his pocket. So, you know, there's got to be something that he has, that, or at least that he believes, has a good faith belief in it. Doesn't mean that it necessarily turns out to be true, but it had to be compelling to him in order for him to put his name behind it. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
All right, we're going to...
Yeah, because this could definitely make or break his entire career. Like, you come out here publicly saying all types of craziness kind of regarding, you know, another billionaire, let's say. Yeah, he has the ability to completely crush you. So, in fact, I do hope that what you're saying is factual and you're just not trying to go out in like a blaze of glory or type of thing, guys.
Continue our conversation with you guys in just a moment. Back to the Factor Uncensored. We continue our conversation with our panel about rapper and businessman Jay-Z being accused of a 13-year-old accused. Okay, let's bring in Aji Mudaran, who works for our social media and website here at Fox 26. What are people saying about this on social media? You know, when you have high-profile celebrities involved in a scandal, they tend to side with the celebrity despite the preponderance of evidence.
Right.
So your thoughts, what are they saying on social media right now with Jay-Z and Tony Busby?
So, you know, my fellow panelists, they focused on the legal side, and I'm focusing more so on the court of popular opinion. And I think that people, they're taking sides, but I think on both sides there's some things that people are questioning. So, for example, with Jay-Z, there's a lot of people who are big fans of Jay-Z. We can't take that away from him, but they're choosing to either say we're going to stay out of it or we want to see what else comes out evidence-wise. But at the same time, there are people who look at his timeline of different things that have happened, such as his relationship with Beyonce and other women in the industry, and like the question of like what ages those women were and what his relationship with those women were, and like kind of saying, well, if that, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. But at the same time with Tony Busby, some people look at him as somebody who's often targeted other high-profile celebrities. Sometimes people see him as a lawyer who is looking for a money grab, even though we already established that, you know, he doesn't necessarily need it. But in terms of how the public sees him, they think that he might just be targeting Jay-Z. In the other sense, Jay-Z put out a response pretty quickly, And most of his fans are used to him not responding at all, but he came out very quickly.
Very quick
and
on
aggressively,
this.
And for some people, that was a red flag because they're
Could be.
saying, well, if this is something that you're not usually responding to or you don't always pay attention to, why now when Busby, when the lawsuit came out, a few minutes or a few hours later, you already have a response?
Because this very specifically has the ability to actually affect him. Like, listen, due to parasocial relationships that a lot of fans tend to kind of, latch on to celebrities, let's say, yeah, he has to do this. There are a couple of things you can be accused of and just ignore. This one isn't it, bro. Like, you can go back to early 2000s and go pick up these, like the Rockefeller documentaries where Dame Dash would speak about exactly who Jay-Z was in the 90s and how he's Jazz-O even. Just go back in the day and you'll realize instantly that regardless of whatever people are perceiving in terms of his business achievements and accomplishments, Jay-Z is still from Marcy, bro. All right, but all right.
Typically, things don't move that quickly. So I think a lot of people have opinions and they're questioning and they're trying to figure out their own way of sorting through all this information. But I think it's going to be hard to really see what side people fall on until we get more evidence. Because again, we talked about the Beehive. Some of them are saying Beyonce should have dropped him a long time ago because he's a liability. And we're seeing it now where he's wrapped up in this case and we don't know where it's going to go.
That's not going to happen.
And of course, one of the things we did see
for many reasons.
One of the things that people said, Oliver, was that there was no flat denial in there, if you can recall that statement.
Yeah, okay. So,
and should he have flatly denied it publicly?
I thought his statement was fine. He came out aggressively, and he's like, hey, if you think I did something, you should, go ahead and have me charged, okay? Then he went on and explained, hey, I don't get down like that based off of the way that he's been raised and whatnot, based off of his, I guess, for lack of a better term, street culture. I didn't like the fact that Tony Busby instantly responded. So they're going head-to-head on this one. And
it sounds like both of them were prepared for it, waiting for it to come.
They were ready for it to drop. And so he may have got the upper hand. I believe that the new lawsuit is now filed in New York, which is going to be his home territory. And so he was prepared for it.
If it's happening in New York, then that makes all the sense in the world then. And this is the reason why they're doing this. And yeah, if they charge him in New York, he's going to get charged.
Was fine. I know you didn't categorically say this did not happen, but he was saying it, I guess, in more roundabout way. It's like, hey, this is ridiculous.
And really quick,
is it?
Do you think that statement was fine the last 20 seconds we have here?
Yeah, I thought he had a very full-throated response, Jay-Z, but Tony Busby came off very confident. He was very to the point. He said
he would have to.
The lawsuit speaks for itself, and we will litigate these facts in court.
All right. We'll talk about it later.
All right. All right, guys. Why would a 13-year-old be there? Where were the parents at? You understand what I'm saying here, guys? Like, there's a lot happening here. I'm definitely not sticking up for Jay-Z. I'm definitely not sticking up for Diddy. I'm not sticking up for anyone who does, absolutely reprehensible things to anyone. That's not a thing here. I'm just trying to just understand why and how. But even if that was the case where you didn't know someone's age, you still did that, guys. Right? You still did it. You still did it, bro. Okay? Allegedly. But guys, the reason why he responded in such a super, super fast manner, obviously, is because this is one of the only things that can ruin a man, like deeply. This right here, being accused of something like this, the accusation itself is not going to go away. Like, even if he wins the court case. Okay, if he wins the court case, the same people that will be out here raging, will be the ones who never even saw the fact that he won. All right, just be aware there's no coming back from just even the accusation of some of these things on a man, right? But I do think that it's very plausible that this could have been something that seriously did happen. Seriously did happen. But, all right, guys, listen, let me know in the comments what you guys think. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. And if you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later, all right? This is my lightsaber. Hey, guys, you guys subscribe to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Oh, also, Mr. L. Boyd Discusses. Guys, check it out.
And if you haven't heard it today, you're amazing.